Welcome to the Cryptosphere. This is Cryptogenic coming at you, and in this video today, I'm going to make the case for an $80,000 Bitcoin, and I'm going to make the case for an $80,000 Bitcoin by taking a look at two different macro trends. One is an uptrend, and the other is a downtrend, both of them on the weekly chart. All right, let's jump into this weekly chart here. The first thing we're going to look at is a downtrend. This actually is a huge bull pennant. Now, every one of these candles is 1 week. And so when we look at this chart, it's a downtrend, which is bearish. But what bull pennants tend to do is they tend to bounce around within the pennant and then break out bullish. So they are inherently bearish, but eventually bullish. That's kind of the way bear trends work. That's kind of the way falling. It's a falling wedge, basically, into a descending, narrowing wedge. Or a bull flag is another way of looking at it. So on the macro trend, we're in this huge bull flag here. And actually, if we look at the RSI is doing exactly the same thing that the price is doing. It's falling down into this descending, narrowing wedge, and we're getting close to the bottom of it. I mean, because this is a weekly chart, this could go all the way to the end of December, beginning of January. And the same thing here. This could actually go even further. But at some point, the RSI would probably break out ahead of time, and that would probably cause us to break out. So definitely before January, I expect to break out of here. Honestly, I expect to break bullish. But this is only one piece of the story, actually. If we look at this chart, it's still a weekly chart. It's just zoomed out a little bit. And in this chart, we're on an ascending narrowing wedge, which is inherently bearish. So what ascending narrowing wedges tend to do is bounce around in here and then break bearish, excuse me. They tend to break down. So descending narrowing wedges tend to break out. Ascending narrowing wedges tend to break down. So which is it? Is it going to break bullish or is it going to break bearish? Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? As we can see the RSI on this chart, it's not the same pattern, however. Okay? It's not the same pattern, and we'll get to that in a second. The main thing I wanted us to see on this particular chart here is the distinction between this pattern here, and then if we zoom out, we get this pattern here. Now, what happens when we put both of the patterns together? What does that look like? Okay. What that looks like is the macro pattern becomes support, and then the micro pattern that transpires within the macro pattern, what I anticipate is that this line here is support. I think we can wick beneath it just like we wicked beneath it over here, but we must quickly come back within this pattern or else it invalidates this whole thesis. So basically, let's say we break down here, we come up here, and we come all the way down here, right? What's going to happen when we break out is that this line is going to become resistance, and we don't want that. Secondly, what's even more potentially disastrous is that if we do break down from this line here, that could be, we don't even want to start talking about what that might look like. So it could get really, really bad if that's the case. However, this trend line actually goes all the way back to 2013. So, we've skirted this line many times before, several times before. We wicked beneath it back here in 2020 in that cataclysmic event. But every other time in the history of Bitcoin, this line is support. So what I anticipate here is the possibility of wicking beneath it, but then breaking out here. Now, where we break out of this micro trend here is going to be important. And here's why. So if we chart the depth of this micro trend, it's 177%. If we break bullish out of this micro trend here, the next stop is 177%. Not the next stop, but that would give me a 177% projection for our next target, which would take us all the way up to the top of this line, okay? All the way up to test the top of this macro trend. Isn't it interesting that the analysis of this trend takes us to the top of this trend, so that even the trend within the trend is honoring the broader trend, the wider trend, okay? And if we break out earlier than that, so where we break out of this trend is going to determine what the target is. If we break out earlier, I could see us wicking above this line and coming up to somewhere around $80,000, right? But if we break out later, it could come a little lower. And if we break out later, it could just take us right up to this line, right? Now, if we break out here, that breakout would be December 5th. It doesn't mean we're going to touch this line by December 5th. It simply means the breakout is December 5th. You know, this is all arbitrary. The timing, I have no clue. When it's going to happen, I have no clue. But this is interesting. Let's take a look at the RSI of this chart in which we've combined both trends. And here's what I see in the RSI of this chart. Notice that the RSI on the macro made a lower low. To zoom in here, on this particular chart, this first one that we looked at, the RSI and the price are convergent. There's no divergence in the RSI. Okay? But on this chart, the price and the RSI are doing two different things, especially in the lows. Look at this. A clear higher low in the price, but a slightly lower low in the RSI. So that means on the macro chart, on this macro Bitcoin chart, we've got pretty strong hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence, which means that this macro trend is telegraphing a bounce here. So I can give you a number of different, I give you up to 5 different criteria for determining the Bitcoin bottom. But hidden bullish divergence is a very strong piece of evidence that in all likelihood, the bottom of Bitcoin is already in and that we're going to bounce from here. Now, that bounce is not going to be linear. We've got to get above this line, right? Once we break above this line, then this line has to be support, right? But this hidden bullish divergence on the weekly chart is very strong. Now, the difference between classic divergence and hidden divergence is that classic divergence indicates a trend reversal, whereas hidden divergence indicates a trend continuation. So the thing to remember is that on this macro chart, this is a bullish trend. And this hidden bullish divergence indicates that this bullish trend will continue. Okay? So I think we're in a strong place here for the crypto market as a whole. I think that these trends that we're seeing on the Bitcoin chart bespeak the coming of a strong next crypto wave moving upward, and that's something to be really excited about. Does that mean that we can't drop lower and capitulate beneath this line and maybe touch the bottom of this trend here? Absolutely not. Of course we can. As a matter of fact, anything is possible in crypto. But looking at these indicators indicate to me that we're in a strong place. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to take a look at the US dollar index, and correlate it with the crypto market cap chart to show the inverse proportionality between what the US dollar does and what the crypto market does. And what we're going to see tomorrow, really the question that we're going to seek to answer in tomorrow's video, is What does the US dollar chart tell us about what's getting ready to happen in the crypto market? Is the US dollar getting stronger, or is it about to break down? And I think there's some clear evidence for an answer to that question. So join me for tomorrow's video. Also, do me a favor and check out my Patreon at patreon.com/cryptogenic, because I have a meeting there every week on either Monday or Thursday morning with my gold members and above. We do a 1-hour Zoom meeting, and I answer questions. I pull up charts, and I do an hour of technical analysis with the group. And it's a fascinating time. It's a wonderful time, and it's a fun time. So I would love to have you think about joining us for this month. All right, with that being said, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Thank you so much for watching. Please do me a favor and hit that like button, the subscribe button, and leave me a comment. But above all else, make it your aim to sleep in peace, wake in joy, and walk in love. This is Cryptogenic, signing out.